Hi there. I'm so happy you are here, and I have a wonderful surprise for you today and a great panel. So, on with the show. Tell me, are you one of those people that would love to just handle challenges in life through simple and great effective tools and processes that's going to draw out your personal potential rather than looking at something on the outside of you, but finding what's inside and how beautiful that is and to bring it out? Well, this is what life coaching is all about. And today you're going to hear all about this and more. Now, as a certified life coach, Simone and I are going to talk to you about different coaching scenarios and what coaching is all about to us. And some of these tips that I'm going to also share today is going to come with my new program that's going to be launched in November, and it's called a 4-part series of the Law of Attraction Made Simple. So watch for that. You're going to get some of those carrots today in this program. And yes, oh yes, you are so in the right place because this program is created every single week. Whoops, not every single week. It's recreated the first 3 Saturdays of the month. And I take the last Saturday off, practicing self-care. Self-care is really important to keep on top of your vibration. Now today's topic is going to be how to dance in the moment with life coach Simone Da Rosa and Sandra Longmore. And I want to welcome you to this Hangout with Sandra Longmore show. And as I told you, I'm here on the first 3 Saturdays, take the last Saturday off. And who I am is I am really a practicer of what I talk about. I love practicing the law of attraction and finding out more and more about it. And the reason is because when you practice law of attraction and the harnessing of law of attraction, you get a higher vibrazione. And vibrazione is Italian for vibration. And the best way to flow is with a high vibrazione. And when I first heard about the law of attraction, I just said, give me more. I want to know more, 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 more. And so I became certified as a trainer and as an energy master in advanced coaching, just so I could find out how to work with the law of attraction myself. And now I help other people do the same. You know, I just really do love my life because of that high vibrazione that comes from practicing, harnessing law of attraction. In fact, I liked it so much that I wanted to attract other people, other like-minded people, because being in the vicinity of people who are attracting and living a life of a high vibration is why I created this community, and it's called The Art of Living Ageless. And you can join that in Google+. Just go on Google+ and search for it, or you can give me an email and I'll tell you how to do it. The whole purpose of that show is to have thoughts. I got a little bit on that too. For thoughts, beauty, and solutions. And today we're going to talk about thoughts and we're going to talk about solutions. So it's how you can live your life as a work of art. I am an artist, and so I like to look at my life as an art in progress. And I like to stand back and say, I created that. I did that. And sometimes it's, I created that. Did I really do that? And yes, I got to take responsibility because law of attraction says you create your own personal reality. Now, if you're just tuning in for the first time to this program, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how energy works, and you're going to find out a whole lot more a little bit later in this program when Simone and I start to talk about the law of attraction laws. So I'm sure you have heard of law of attraction, and maybe in your own life you've said things like coincidence or serendipity or wow, look what happened. That must have meant to be. Well, this is the way law of attraction shows up, and everything that is a coincidence is a result of law of attraction. You see, law of attraction isn't a person or a thing. It just is. It's flowing in your background. And you can use law of attraction to create things because you and I are magnetic and we're attracting things all the time. So why not attract the good stuff and leave the bad stuff? In fact, whatever you put your energy, focus, and desire on, is what you're going to get more of. And the trick is just absolutely to harness that energy. Now I'd like to reintroduce the topic, which is how to dance in the moment with Simone and I. And I'd like to introduce my panel. So first on the panel, we'll introduce Tony. So Tony, tell us a little bit about yourself. She's unmuting herself.
Hi, I'm Tony Winters, and I'm an artist. And this is what I created today. And it brings me a whole lot of joy to see it finished and look three-dimensional. And it's kind of how my mood works. You start lightly and just kind of keep building on it and work your way up to a better feeling and a better place. And we are in control of that. And that's something that I have learned through Sandra. And it brings me a lot of joy to be on her panel and help out. And back to you.
I love seeing that. Tony did. She made that this morning in class. So really turned out nice. And Simone, let's hear from you.
Hi, Sandra. Thanks for having me. I have a motto, and it's a philosophy of my coaching and my life, and it is that energy matters. I'm a master certified coach, and I help people gain gentle badassery in their live, love, lead through awareness of the energy in both their visible and their unseen lives to their goal of effortless success, soulful success. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Awesome, and we're going to hear more from Simone in a little bit. So, in fact, both Simone and I became certified Law of Attraction coaches and life coaches through QSCA, which is Quantum Success Coaching Academy with Christy Whitman. And then we both also took the advanced coaching class, which was Energy Mastery, and with Karen Wilson. And we've just kind of been buddies ever since. And we also are on a mastermind group that we meet together. We've done this for 2 years, where we meet together in our mastermind group, which is really an awesome way to keep in touch with like-minded people and their progress, and mastermind is just a really good thing. So we have in our taking the different courses, we have learned so many things, and now we'd like to talk about some of them and about the coaching process. So the first thing is, I'm going to ask Simone, what is law of attraction? How would you explain that to our viewers?
Law of attraction is probably the most well-known universal law. What you put out, you get back. So you create your own reality, and what you're thinking is reflected back to you. So there is definitely a guidance system if you want to look and notice it and use it. It's also called the Newton's third law of motion. For those who are more left-brained and linear, it exists, and to me that says it exists both measurably in science as well as experientially for a person. That's law of attraction. It's constantly working, whether you believe it or not, like gravity.
Yep. Sometimes you're going to say, I love that law of attraction, and sometimes you're going to say, oh my goodness.
Yep.
But it is. It's always, always working. So then I'm going to talk a little bit about what is the law of deliberate creation. So deliberate creation is, we know what law of attraction is now. It's always working in the background, always flowing there. And then what about, how could I harness that? How could I bring it so that I can deliberately create? Well, in this law, you are actually creating a vibration knowingly, not just helter-skelter. and you have an awareness of what you want to receive, and you're going to bring it to you. And one of the ways is by celebration. So celebrating how close you got to a desire, or maybe tweaking a vibration so you're getting a better match. Because the law of attraction is always at work, whether you're aware of it or not. And a lot of us create by default. We don't go through our days trying to figure out how to raise our vibration. And one of the ways you raise your vibration is by just going general. Just things like, I love being on the road and having all the cars be so safe and stay in their own lanes. And I just love having a beautiful day like this where there's sun and people are smiling, and you just, like using the emotions on the guidance scale that I showed you before. You try and keep your emotions up in the higher levels. And then as they're up there in the higher levels, you will attract more of what you do want and less of what you don't want. Simone, do you have anything to add to that, or should we go to the next thing?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Well, the next one is the law of allowing. What have you got to say about that one, Simone?
Wow, that is the third essential law, and it's probably the most challenging. Whereas law of attraction, is always running in the background. It's just one of those forces of nature. Law of allowing is something that we can practice, learn, be, and do. So be and do and be, more and more. And to go back to your point about the master group, we have seen each other in 2 years progress so much. So it's really about practice. Law of allowing can only go deeper the more you practice it. It's about least resistance. It is about allowing, just like it sounds, things are the way they are, and you can be frustrated by it, but use that guidance and that emotion of the frustration to move forward to the next level, as opposed to, why does this always happen to me? Why are things like that? Why is he like that? Blaming any kind of external thing. So allowing is really an art as much as it is a law. It's a huge law. And it's really about creating. It's sort of the fuel, the rocket fuel to the creation, the deliberate creation that Sandra was just talking about. It's everything.
Yes, so true. So the next thing then is the emotions. And, again, I'll show you my emotional scale. By the way, if you go on my internet site and sign up to get the next episodes, the latest episodes, you get one of those emotional scales free. And they really are handy to pinpoint what your emotions are, because once you know what your emotion is, then you know that you can shift it. And yes, I know, sometimes it's not so easy to shift when you're right in the middle of something that's just pulling at your heartstrings, or it's got you by the throat. But the more you can learn how to shift it, the more you can learn how to just steer that car so that you can get to where you want in peace and serenity and happiness, the happier and better your life is going to be. So the emotions are what is the indicator of your point of attraction. That's how important they are. So they are your guidance system, and they are in alignment. The emotions are created to be our guidance system, and they are in alignment with our source energy. So your emotions are the way of telling you if you are in alignment or if you're off. So if you're feeling a resistance towards something, then you're not in alignment with your source energy, which is everything. It's your spirit, it's your source. And so then once you know that, things aren't feeling so good right here, then what am I resisting? And this is where a life coach really comes in handy. Then you know that you can start to shift, start to change things. So the first thing is to discover what the emotional set point is. And then you can start to shift it and get a better ride all the round. So next, I thought, Simone, that we would go into some scenarios here. So the first one is one that Simone and I actually talked a little bit about. She's worked with some of her clients around this issue of son or daughter and of problems with parenting. And one particular person that I was working with and Simone was working with kind of in the same area was that the person's son had been lying to her. And in fact, he was so good at telling lies with just this straight face that it just really made her mad. In fact, she said, right now, he's lying about everything, even things that don't make any sense. Why would he keep lying about small things? And besides that, I really like honesty. That's one of my top values, and here I have a son who isn't honest, and this is really tearing at my heartstrings. I love my son. I just feel so bad about it, and I don't want him to keep going down that path of telling lies. So the first thing as a life coach is we would take a look at where is this client, not the son, where is the client on the emotional vibrational scale? So Simone, would you say that?
I would definitely think the poor mother is going through disappointment and possibly blame for her own parenting skills, probably worry and some sadness for her son. But you know, it's exactly what you said. It's not about the son, it's about the person who is experiencing this, in this case the parent. So we create the reality that we are thinking and feeling about. That's our thought emotion alignment presenting itself in the material, in the physical realm. So if she's feeling these things, he's picking up on it in a different way and acting accordingly with his personality. But she is creating more worry. She's focused on worry for him. She's focused on I'm so sad. She's focused potentially on I should be ashamed of my parenting skills. So that's where she is right now.
Yeah. So then the next step would be maybe to ask her a powerful question. And that powerful question could be something like, is your happiness dependent on his action, on his actions? And this would remind her of her power and that she does really create her reality, and to get to thinking about how she could shift her vibration. And if she, along with, the way law of attraction works, if she could shift her vibration around this subject, then his too would be shifted, because law of attraction would take care of the rest. So one of the powerful questions you might ask is, what are the positive aspects of your son? And what would life be like if you were just working with your own thoughts in this situation? And Simone, what do you have to add to that?
Well, one of my favorite questions for almost any scenario is, what am I trying to teach myself? So everything that's happening to us out there is a lesson, and it can be looked at as an opportunity to grow and expand, or it could be you could look at it as a challenge and a problem to overcome. And coming at the same thing from those two different perspectives can lead to very different results, outcomes. So I might ask her, what part of the situation do you feel that you could take responsibility for? It's not a blame question, it's not a judgment question. It's what part do you feel you have responsibility for? And it's kind of circular because it's really about her.
Yeah, so we're dancing in the moment. We're dancing in the moment right here with this woman and her issue. So one of the things also, if there's a lot of momentum to this situation, which there probably is, I know there always is when it comes to your kids, is to create a book about positive aspects of your son or of anyone. And that is an actual process. It's an Abraham Hicks process, and we learned it in the QSCA too, is that to have a book and put the person's name on the top and then list all the positive aspects you have about that person. And then not only list it, but read it. Read it every day. And that alone can help shift some energy, because we're energy shifters, and that's what we want for our client, and that's what the client really wants for herself. And so, Simone, do you have anything else around that?
I guess I would finally ask her, or start with, I don't know, I'm thinking everything is an infinity loop. If her happiness is dependent on his actions, I'm not quite sure how old your client's child was, but if the child is old enough that she can really kind of step back and see that what he does, she's going to be happy or unhappy regardless. And she's only adding fuel to the fire by continuing to sort of spiral down. By his actions really make me mad, they make me sad, I'm so ashamed. That's just a spiral down the emotional guidance scale, not spiraling up. So I'd like to put that back on her and have her really examine how she's feeling and what she's contributing to her own experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one. Some of the other processes that we learned is when she's talking, or when anybody's talking in your life, or when you're talking in your head, is to think about, well, what thought would feel better? So just maybe before you're starting to open up your mouth and come out with your usual response, which is in the lower level of the guidance scale here, then you might stop and think, which thought would feel better? So instead of, he always does this, this always happens, perhaps shift that thought to something like, things are a little different today. I notice some changes in how I felt when I first woke up, and just kind of grasp a different thought so that you can feel the power of shifting your own personal thoughts. There's also the 68-second process, which is another one that we learned in QSCA. And the 68-second process is that if you can do, say, excuse yourself before you, whatever those words are that are going to come out of your mind or out of your mouth, before you say them, say, excuse me a minute, and excuse yourself and go someplace where you can say, for 17 seconds only, something that would be more positive, and do a rampage about positive thoughts. And if you can get your mind to shift in that 17 seconds to a more positive thought wave, then another 17 seconds will join it, and it just gets higher and higher. So then you're able to shift your energy that way. So that's just a couple processes we kind of pull out of our hat when we have some coaching to do, which both of us love. So also another one is downstream thought. So not what is the better thought, there's also the downstream thoughts. And some of those might be something like, well, things always do work out. I use that one quite a bit. It's one of my favorite ones. Things really do work out for me. And another one might be, it's normal for kids to lie a little. This is part of a life lesson. Or something like, this too should pass. Or I know my son will get in alignment with his higher source sooner or later. This too shall pass. And it feels good to work on my thoughts. I love working on my thoughts and shifting. And I love knowing that I can really find some happiness. So Simone, what about you? Do you have some downstream thoughts there for that lady, or for ourselves?
That's not my wheelhouse, I have to just say bluntly. I guess what I want to say about this is to connect the dots, that what you're thinking is reflected in your reality. So if you're dealing with a child whose behaviors aren't really matching up to what you think he or she should be doing, then it really should be more about putting out more of, I like the idea of the positive thoughts, their positive aspects, because the more you focus on that about them, the more they start to pick up on that energetically and reflect it back to you. So there is that connection that's constantly happening. And this work is really all about consciousness and raising your awareness and consciousness to the next level, that you don't have to just go through life with habitualized thoughts, oh, he's terrible, he'll never amount to anything. Things that maybe you heard before in your past. So this consciousness, this awareness is really the key to me in parenting and in life. That's it.
Yeah, that's dancing in the moment with whatever that client needs at that particular time. We have the processes and we have all these things in our toolbox, and we can pull them out in a second as life coaches. And it really does depend on the situation and the moment, and you're literally dancing with the person, and it's and then you feel also as a coach, you feel that you have a source energy, a consciousness that is dancing right along with you. So you got the client and you got yourself, and then you have the source energy, and it's just this beautiful dance where things do get better for everybody. So we're about at the end of our session here. Boy, that went so fast. I can't believe it's almost 30 minutes here, and I like to keep it at 30 minutes. So Simone, I'd like to invite you back another time. Would you be willing to do that?
That would be great. I think when you and I get together, powerful things happen. Times 100. Let's help more people.
Definitely, yes. Definitely. So tell me, what one thing, let's see if what one thing kind of lit up in your mind as we were doing our talk today. And so I'm going to start with Tony. Tony, do you have one thing?
Dancing in the moment. That's something that I've practiced in my career, 30 years of management. If somebody was down, find a way to bring them back up. It's called, walk the walk, talk the talk. And it can be done in such a short period of time with a lot of practice. And that's what resonated with me, with your downstream thoughts, positive aspects of the person. Just show them how to lift themselves up. So it all makes sense. It's something that I've practiced, not knowing what to call it all these years. Yeah.
Awesome. Simone, how about you?
Well, seeing you both sitting in an art classroom also inspired me, and what Tony said with her beautiful piece of work today. I also consider myself an artist, but not necessarily with paintbrush, although I drew and I write. Using my life as this creativity and this outlet, as well as this constantly shifting piece of clay, let's say, that is really important. So that means to me, and this is sort of the takeaway, being present is everything. And that is one more of those practice things, being present and seeing what works and doesn't work for you anymore. This is dancing in the moment at its best. This is really being present is dancing in the moment, is being present is dancing in the moment. So that's where all the power is, not in the past and not in the future where you're diluting all of your power here. So that's something huge I took away from just talking for half an hour with you all.
I kind of picked up on that too. That was interesting because I am an artist, and I'm spending a lot of time on my Hangout with Sandra show and on the community and building my computer, working more with computer. And I'm thinking, well, I should be painting. There's that should be, that little
shooting.
I'm shooting myself. Oh my gosh. She caught me, Simone. Yeah. So there was a relief there that came. And I thought, yes, because this is like, I heard one time that the computer is the toolbox for creativity, for creating too. And I just got this kind of shift of this is an art. This is an art of living. Maybe it's like my community, the art of living. Yeah, it's a different medium. Thank you, Tony. It's a different medium. Yeah, and it's an art of living. Just that wonderful, wonderful in the moment, like Simone said, in the moment living. That's as good as it gets. Just living in that moment and loving it. So, Simone, we didn't talk about how people can get a hold of you. I just remember that, so I'm going to put it back on you.
Remembering. So they can visit me at my website, SimoneDaRosa.com, and it's D-A, DaRosa, like Da Vinci, I like to say. And there's a contact page there. And I'm going to be filling out more and more of my Google Plus, so I'll create a community eventually, and you can see me there too. And I hope here again with Sandra.
Awesome, yeah. And you can find me on Google Plus and in the community, The Art of Living Ageless. And also, all the social media is under my name, Sandra Longmore. So if you just Google it, Sandra Longmore, it'll all come up. And so loved being here with you, dear viewer. Love dancing in the moment with you. And looking forward to the next time, which will be the 1st of November. Because remember, next week I take off. So bye for now.
Bye.